It's interesting, this world we live in which we talk about so many standards. This person has that view, this person has that view. We say it's all right. But I've always believed that there's only one correct thing. And I always thought, like, if you say, oh, yeah, anybody could be right, you believe in that, that's okay. It's like, well, if you believe you could fly, yeah, go jump off the building. I'm pretty sure. Doesn't really matter what you believe. There's the harsh reality of the ground that you'll come splat against, and you'll die. And I realized this. There's an even easier example, and it's called weights. So I was sending some stuff, and I had to weigh it. But I don't have a very accurate scale home, and looking at this or that, the report is not accurate, this or that. I mean, it doesn't make that much of a difference when you're weighing some stuff for your kitchen, when you're cooking, when you're off by an ounce or two. Not the end of the world, right? Maybe if it's salt, that's the end of the world. But if it's not a big deal usually, and people don't weigh salt. But if you're shipping something and you actually don't put enough postage on it, then it is the end of the world, because they're just not going to ship it. The mailman's going to say, no, it doesn't work. And then your item doesn't go to the guy who bought it, and you get a bad review, and blah, 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 right? End of the world. So I wanted to get something that's really accurate. So the first time I didn't have a scale, so I just waited at the post office. You know how those self-serve kiosks. And so when I was looking for other scales, people had all these different scales. I tried it. It's like, that's off by quite a bit. And you read online reviews of all the stuff they sell at Target, and you're like, oh, not too accurate. What do I do here? I finally found a guy who had a scale that's actually very accurate. So I weighed it at 3 pound 15 at the post office. His says 3 pounds 14.2. Pretty much the same, right? They rounded up at the post office. So very good. I have an accurate scale. And it's important, because if you just want to overestimate everything's weight, just add a few ounces, you're paying more money. And if you're shipping a lot of items, that's going to add up. And so you want an accurate scale, because the mailman, the person at the UPS store, the lady at FedEx doesn't really care what your scale says at home. If it doesn't match with their scale and they pay enough money, they're not going to ship it. No luck there, right? So there's this idea of a universal weight. Things actually weigh the same here and there. We understand that if you say it has a different weight, you're just wrong. It weighs the same here and there. The weight didn't magically change. Your scale is just bad, and we accept that. In the science community, they actually have standards. This is 1 kilogram. And I'm sure they have the same for the US metric system, or the US imperial system. And the idea is we got to know what is what, right? We got to have a standard. I think that's what is often lost nowadays, this idea of a standard. See, I know that it sounds harsh, right? All these companies nowadays pushing their employees this or that. And I feel bad for the people working at Amazon in the warehouses who are pushed so hard. But the reason Amazon is so successful is because they have a standard. Because they're able to promise delivery and achieve it. In the past, you have all these companies that say, oh, I'll deliver this or that. And it's like, oh, well, UPS, FedEx, they basically gotten rid of their guarantees. The Postal Service, they didn't really have a guarantee in the first place. 2 days, could be 3 days, could be 4 days. That's just luck of the draw, basically, right? But Amazon has standards. They told you it's going to be there. And most of the time, the vast majority of the time, it was. They took control. And that's what standards are useful for. If you're going to launch a space shuttle, you need to have standards. This guy's idea of how tight a screw should be exactly the same as that guy's idea. Otherwise, no bueno, right? If there's an explosion in the outer atmosphere, I think people are going to die. And that's the idea of a standard, of a reality, of a truth. 1 pound is 1 pound is 1 pound. And at the post office, they don't really care what my scale said. And I agree, my scale, if it's not accurate, then it's just wrong. It's not a difference of opinion, it's just wrong.